What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 29 of the Off the Dribble podcast featuring myself and my co host, Aashrith Iyer. Today, we're just going to keep continuing giving you guys updates on the 2024-2025 NBA season. We are officially 15 games, 16 games into the season, and we're going to be giving you updates on a lot of different things that have gone on throughout this week, starting off with some drama in the Sixers locker room. And as we all know, and some of you may not know, the Sixers are bottom of the Eastern Conference right now, sitting at 2-13, if I believe correctly off the top of my head. So,
They're
Ashrit,
2-13.
yep, 2-13. If I'm looking at
Oh
it
my,
correctly, I think they are
oh my
yeah, two
God,
and
they're
twelve,
worse than
2-12.
They're worse than the Wizards.
Yeah.
Oh my
So, Ashrit,
gosh.
based off of like everything you've seen, like the main storyline this week has been obviously a team meeting that the Sixers had after one of their games after they lost, and apparently Joel Embiid's main mission after the team meeting isn't to come
He
on time.
crashed out.
It's to find whoever snitched about the meeting. So, what are your thoughts about that whole situation?
Dude, there's like so many funny things with this because first of all, it's so funny that Kyle Lowry is the one who called the meeting. Like, like one of the least tenured Sixers is the one calling the meeting. Like that's crazy in and of itself. Second, the betting lines came out for like who they think the snitch would be, and Eric Gordon is the favorite. So
Eric
like
Gordon is the favorite to be the snitch. Wow.
yeah, and if you look at Twitter, everyone agrees. It's like, yeah, Eric Gordon seems like the type of guy to snitch about this kind of stuff. So
Eric Gordon is
and
probably the least problematic dude on the team.
they're saying that he just looks like he does shams. And
Yeah.
then and then everyone right after the team meeting report came out said like, oh my God, it'd be really funny if PG made a podcast about it. And then an hour later, PG makes a podcast, 76ers team meeting with Reggie Jackson. Who cares about Reggie Jackson's opinion on this? But like that's it besides the point. Like it's sad that like Tyrese Maxey has to be the veteran of the team and like call
Mhm.
out Embiid. I mean, through the length of this podcast, I've been a pretty ardent Embiid supporter. I like Embiid a lot. Like I think he's really good at what he does. Like I appreciate the antics. It makes like basketball fun to watch. Like, and I think the free throw stuff's a little overblown. Like, he does get fouled a lot. Like, just like
Yeah.
naturally through the course of play. Like, he's so dominant that he has to get fouled.
Mhm.
Like, but like this is just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
if he's really showing up like that late to meetings, if he isn't on time to like the simplest of like film studies, because like NBA players don't really watch that much film. If you look at what like players like Austin Rivers or like Lou Williams have said on podcasts, it's like they really get like the 30 minutes and then they're out. Like
Yeah.
it's not really like in depth like it is for like the NFL.
It's more
So
it's more of them just like kind of watching film on like mainly who their matchup is. They're not really like kind of focusing on like everything going on the court. So they focus on their main matchups for like the 15, 20 minutes and then they just go on about their rest of their shooting
yeah,
routine, whatever.
and a player like Embiid who's like the matchup really doesn't
Doesn't
matter too much. Like there's not like someone who's really gonna pose him much of a threat. And if they are gonna pose him that much of a threat, he probably knows about them.
Mhm.
So like it's really confusing to see like why he would even like risk being late to this kind of stuff. But I mean, they're in turmoil. Like PG clearly just wanted it back. He's not the same player anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's just free Maxi, bro. Like that's all I could just free him.
It's like the most concerning part to me is like I saw a video of like after the team meeting and everything, Joel Embiid was doing a press conference and they asked him like, "Oh, like why were you late to the meeting?" And then like his response, like jokingly, obviously was like, "Oh, like I didn't even know about a meeting. Like what meeting are you talking about?" Like when you like your star player, like your MVP player responds with something like that. Like I get like he's known to be a troll like ever since he's been in the NBA, but like it comes to a point in time, like a certain point in the season where you kind of have to focus on like your team winning. Like I get like you're in the NBA, like it's your job, like the first thing first, like you're making money. That's like why you're in the league, obviously, but go out there and like try and win. Like that's what people want you to do. And as like a pro player too, like competitively wise, like you don't see that like that competitive spirit coming out of him. So it's pretty concerning. And it's also really concerning when a rookie, like your 16th pick, Jared McCain, is like very obviously your best player. Obviously, because Tyrese Maxey's not in right now, he's going to be back very soon. But that's also another concern when you sign Paul George to what was it, a $200 million contract.
212, I think, was the
Yeah.
number.
So, like and now he's hurt again, hyperextending the same knee that he hyperextended in the preseason. Like injuries are going to keep coming, and you're already starting off 2-12. So that leads me to my next question for you: Are the hope for the Sixers, like, is it done? Like 15 games into the season? Me personally,
Well,
like if they were in the West, I would say yeah, like pretty easily. But they're in the East, so if you really look at the standings, like the 10th seed is the Pacers, and they're 6-9.
yeah, they're
So
3.5 games out. Like
so
it's not that big a
it's not
deal.
that bad, yeah. So how about you? Like, what do you think the chances are of like at least trying to climb back into the play-in?
Well, you want to guess which team has their first round pick?
The Thunder.
See,
So
you
I'm
know what
gonna
I want.
yeah. So I'm gonna assume that you just let them rock at the bottom of the standings.
The thing is like we got the pick off the Al Horford trade in 2021, and like I
I really
think
forgot
Daryl
how
Morey
on the Thunder at one point.
exactly, and Daryl Morey probably viewed the pick. It's a top six protected pick, so
Okay.
Daryl Morey probably viewed the pick as like it's like we'll probably pick him in the late 20s. Like it's just another pick we got to give him. We get a good veteran presence. Well, Al Horford leaves the team like a year later. He's on the Celtics now, wins a ring the next season, and now they're 2-12, and will likely convey their pick to us. So like it's interesting. I didn't think the worst pick would be the Sixers. I thought it'd be the Clippers pick, but
It's
I
the
guess
same thing kind of the Wolves are in. Like we actually have the Pistons next pick next year, and like we were never gonna get the Pistons pick because I think it was like top 12 protected or like top 10
mhm,
protected. But now like
mhm,
Pistons are seventh in the East. So like who knows? Maybe if they keep playing good, like we might snag a mid like 15, 20,
mhm,
20, 20, 20, 20 rounder in like the first round. So that could be kind
mhm.
of cool as well.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think the Sixers are gonna really do anything anyways. Like I think they're obviously gonna make the play in, but
Mhm.
like because like I don't see a team like for example um Brooklyn, like they're not gonna be in contention.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. And like maybe actually I don't know, because I like Charlotte a lot.
I do like
So like
Charlotte has a pretty like not like this roster doesn't stand out obviously, but they have some solid pieces.
it's a shame the sixth seed is only 3.5 games, 4.5 games ahead of the 15 seed. That's
It's like
different conversation.
it's doable for the Sixers, but like the thing is like they're not healthy. They're not healthy. So like if they need to win games, they need to start winning games like today. Like
Yeah,
they
Embiid's
need
gonna have to play.
yeah. So
Well, a team that's winning games,
mhm.
it's the Golden State Warriors.
Yep.
Then they don't seem they're gonna stop winning.
Yeah,
It's really impressive, honestly.
it is. It is.
Like I did not see them being this good. So they're currently 11-3.
Yep.
I think they play tonight.
They play tonight against
Uh, okay, they're 12-3. Okay,
yeah, in a
so
group cup game, group stage for the NBA Cup.
so what do you think? Because it's like I don't think a single player in the Warriors is playing over 30 minutes a night. I think
Yeah,
it's a
like
pretty balanced effort. This is probably the lowest points per game in Steph's like career where he's been like good.
he is averaging
Probably,
24, no, 23, yeah, 23 points a game, 5
yeah,
rebounds, 6.5 assists.
yeah, and the percentages are probably high, right? If I had to take a
Yeah,
guess.
49.1% from the field and then 44% from three.
Yeah, he's playing insane.
Yeah, and like on 29 minutes a game too. So not even like mid 30s or like low 30s, like high 20 minutes a game. So
Yeah.
I think for the Warriors, like just looking at their roster, it's like depth. Like you have, well, first and foremost, you have players like Lindy Waters. Like I didn't know that like he could be like pretty like solid rotational piece for them, especially when they do have injuries and he's coming in and he's producing. So obviously getting players like that who are producing who are helping your team produce, that's going to help you a lot. But I feel like Andrew Wiggins kind of coming back into like that role when they won the chip, like he was that number two option on that team. He was like the focal point on defense. Like he would go out there and guard their number one option every single night. Like that year, he was like complete shutdown on defense. Like it was crazy. Majority of the people he would like go against, like it would be impossible for them to score on him unless it was like a pick and roll or an ATO kind of action out of a timeout, something like that. But he's slowly getting back to that kind of like peak performance. Like last game, I think he had 27 points if I remember correctly. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's like a huge thing for him. And then like also they have dude, like their depth is insane. Like they did lose D'Anthony Melton, who was like a pretty big free agent signing for them, I would say, as like a backup point guard. Like he's a pretty good two-way backup point guard. He's out for the season with ACL injury, but don't think that will affect them like that much. And then they're getting like everyone thought like their center play would be off, but they're getting pretty decent minutes from Trace Jackson Davis when he gets in the game. He's doing everything he needs to do, rebounding, protecting the paint, and that's really all that the Warriors like need out of him for like 15, 20 minutes a game. So like just a collective unit, and plus like the shooting, like adding Buddy Hield, like spacing everyone thought would go down a little bit, but obviously when you have Steph, like that's not a problem, and you add another like top 5 shooter in the league. So yeah, things are gonna keep looking up for them as well. And barring any injuries, I don't think that like I think they'll keep playing this way. Honestly,
It's tough. Like I hope they keep playing this way. Like I really like the way they play basketball. Like it's hella movement. Like I
it's
know I
very.
understand it's a lot of threes attempted, but like it's the creative looks that Steve Kerr is creating.
Mhm.
But like I don't know, like something about the fact that maybe I'm just doubting Steph, but like I don't know if they can keep up this pace though. This is on for like a 60 plus game win season.
Yeah.
Like that's bold. Like you have teams like obviously Thunder, which you know what to talk about, but teams like the Suns who are gonna get better once their stars come back. You have teams like the Nuggets who once Jokic gets back, they're gonna get better, as we saw them get better throughout the season. You have a lot of teams like the Rockets who are doing really well.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they can keep the same pace because the way it's going right now, it's like you have players like Lindy Waters who are starting. Like
Mhm.
Lindy Waters played for the Thunder for I think 3 years. Like there is no point during the season where we thought that Lindy Waters could be like
A
a
rotation.
starter.
Yeah, not even a
L-
rotation
or-
in that
yeah.
sense.
So like if he found his home and is like playing well, like, God bless him. But like I don't know if you can make it work with like that level of players. But I mean, hey, we've seen it work before.
Yeah.
So
My
like
thing is like when you compare like how basketball is like played in the NBA from like the first half of the season through the second half, like you can tell like the defensive intensity picks up because like games mean a lot more after the
mm,
All-Star break. And like when you look at the Warriors roster, like it's really balanced from top to bottom. But the one thing that they're lacking is you don't have a number two like person, like a solidified number two guy that can just go out there apart from Steph and get you like a bucket anytime he needs. Like
yeah.
Wiggins, like, yeah, he can do that, but he's shown
Mm,
flashes of doing it. He's never shown like doing it on a consistent basis. Everybody's been thinking that Jonathan Kuminga is going to be that type of player, but he doesn't get the minutes that he deserves on with that roster. Even though like he's been playing a lot more, I've been seeing that a little bit, but like that spacing and like those open threes, like for Buddy Hield and all that, like defenses are going to collapse a lot more when games start to mean a lot more. So I feel like when they come down to clutch time and they need someone else, when Steph is getting double teamed or sometimes even triple teamed, like that's it's going to come and bite them in the ass. Like especially in the playoffs when playoff time comes as well.
them declining that pods for market and trade
It's-
is like mind blowing now
Mhm.
because like they're playing this well with pods playing like meaningless minutes. Like I
Yep.
think he's still ramping up coming back from injury,
Yeah.
so they're still 11-3 basically without him. So like I think the trade is centered around pods and Moody with picks around it. Like man,
I don't.
like getting a we didn't really understand it then and we're us reacting to it, but man, it looks a lot worse right now.
It
But
does.
I mean, hey, maybe they can try and make a move for him at the deadline.
Honestly, like it's marketing will help them obviously. Like he's a 20-point per game scorer, but while watching the Lakers game, I was listening to the commentary, and one stat that the commentators brought up, which is super interesting, is all of Markkinen's threes so far this season have been assisted. He hasn't like been able to create like his own like shot off the dribble and like drain a three. So like kind of going off what I said, like kind of creating your own shot, like you going iso ball one on one with someone. That sometimes you need a second person to be able to do that. Like marking it up like to like the picture perfect eye, like yeah, he's a stretch 4, stretch 5. That would be amazing for Curry, but he really like just based off of that like stat to me, like that shows that he's not like at top of his level of like creating his own shot, but still that fit would have been perfect for them as well because it gives them rebounding and length as well.
I also find it hard to judge because like on the Jazz, like this is like to digress into a completely different conversation, but like on the Jazz, like who's really is getting guarded besides him,
That him.
right?
He's the focal point of like every single
Yeah.
play. Yeah,
So like when you're getting double like that, like I don't really expect you to like he's not the kind of like step back like let me get a bucket type of guy.
that's true.
So I get what you mean in that sense, but I think he'd do a lot better in creating his
Cool.
own looks when he's getting one person on him. I'm like
Yeah,
as he would in Golden State.
that's a great point.
Well, a team who's not looking like they live up to preseason expectations, probably the exact opposite of the Warriors,
Yeah,
is the Timberwolves.
yeah, yep, yep,
And
yep.
and we've been waiting for this crash out for a while. We've been trying to record this episode for about a week behind the scenes. So you guys don't know. Me and Chetan been pretty busy this past like week with like last stuff before Thanksgiving and stuff. But
Yep.
man, this man's been crashing out. So the floor is yours, man.
So I'm just gonna before I start crashing out, I'll give a explanation as to why I've been crashing out. So our last like 4 losses have been back to backs to the Blazers away, and then a 1 point loss to the Heat at home, and then 5 point loss to the Raptors away, and we haven't beat the Raptors in over 20 years in Toronto, which is a fucking that I just can't put my mind to that. How have you not beat a team 24? Yeah, how have you not beat a team in 24 years on their home court, bro? That's 2 decades, bro. That's insanity. But going back to like everything, like first of all, that Heat game was just the worst, the absolute worst. You take, I don't know if like you watched the game, but what happened was they won off of a Nikola Jovic and one lay out of a timeout play with like 3 seconds left. Um, you take out Rudy Gobert, your best interior defender, and obviously, yeah, you want to stop the three. Like, don't give up a three because you're up 2. Who cares about the three? Like, like one, like in like who cares about the three, bro? Like the team, if they have the chance to go for an easy layup for a tie, they would do that rather than taking a contested three. But our coach takes out Rudy Gobert and puts in who? The shortest player on the court, Mike Conley. So now the tallest player on the court is Julius Randle. And Julius Randle's not even guarding Nikola Jovic. He's guarding the inbounder, which makes absolutely no sense. So they set a back screen to Jovic, then he curls around from the 3-point line, make a line drive to the basket, catches the ball, and then what happens? Nickeil Alexander-Walker comes out of nowhere and fouls the fuck out of him. And then we lose the game by 1. So, like, things like that, coaching, just like, that's just full coaching. Then you go to the Blazers game. I honestly have no idea what happened against the Blazers. Shaden Sharp in one game just looked absolutely. Yo, you don't have to keep putting up the 24, bro. I get it. Shaden Sharp looked like he was like prime, like Kobe was making everything, but at the same time, you're giving up 122 points to the Blazers, who didn't have Anthony Simons, who didn't have DeAndre Ayton, 2 of their like best scorers, and then yesterday, bro, you lose to the Raptors. Like, okay, like the Raptors, like, oh, they got Scotty Barnes back, cool. RJ Barrett is playing, cool. Bro, like, you have Anthony Edwards on your team. Like, I get you have Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, like, he might be okay, but they're also have lost 12 games this season. And you go in there, you have a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then you blow the fourth quarter, losing 32-24 in the fourth quarter. So just like, and like, if you look at like one specific play that I'll touch on is Gobert was posting up Scotty Barnes. He was in the paint for already 3 seconds. Julius Randle told him, clear out. As me personally, if I was Julius Randle and I saw Gobert posting up Scotty Barnes, I would tell him to clear out as well because Scotty Barnes is like 6'9". He's not a bad defender. Like, he has pretty active hands, and Gobert has hands made out of rocks. Like, this dude can't catch anything unless it's like above his head. That's the only way the ball's staying in his hands. So Julius Randle tells him to clear out. He becomes a bitch about it, and then instead of like running out of the paint to not get a turnover for 3 seconds, he just casually walks. So like just that play just
Nah,
kind of
don't stop it there. Talk about the end of the game too. Do you remember having the end of the game? So Julius Randle flung a pass at Gobert at the end of the game, and it hit Gobert's hand and went out of bounds, and Julius Randle just laughed and walked off the court.
Yep. So just like it's lack of chemistry, like, and then like now you see like Cat having a career year in New York, like, and also like Julius Randle, like is the numbers are cool and all, like 21 points a game, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, that's cool and all, but like if you watch him, like he's kind of does the same thing Cat does. He runs through the middle of the court and he loses the ball because he thinks he can drive and he thinks he can bully everyone, and that's not what happened. And like that Suns game as well. Like last thing I'll touch on, you beat a shorthanded Suns team. You let Devin Booker go out for 44 points when he hasn't eclipsed like 25 more than 25 points in 3 previous games, and then you have to win off of a buzzer beater 3 that technically was a travel and the game should have gone to overtime. So just like things like that have just hasn't been the season that the Wolves wanted. But from my perspective, I can't put like a certain like reasoning as to why that's happening. So from an outside perspective, what do you? Because I know you watched some of those games. You watched the back to back against the Blazers, obviously. So what do you think is like the main thing going on?
Okay, before I answer, like, how much blame do you put on Ant? Because
I put a lot of blame on Ant too because Ant hasn't been playing well at all. The defense hasn't been there. The off-ball defense has been atrocious, kind of back to when he was a rookie. Like he was known to be like, I think statistically speaking, he was the worst defender in the league his rookie year.
he
He's
was.
he's going back to those kind of basics of not even like acknowledging his man when he's playing off the ball defense. He's never been an amazing off the ball defender, but he's like a lot worse now. His on the ball defense too, like people are getting blown. He's getting blown by a lot. He's getting scored on by players like Davion Mitchell, like pretty easily. So and then like he's been really good in the clutch. I will say that he's been a lot better with his shot selection at certain times, but at the same time, like I see a very like keen lack of energy with what he's like, how he's playing.
I think like the Randall Gobert thing might be an issue later on. Like it's pretty clear they don't really enjoy playing with each other.
Yep.
Like I think this is what kind of confused me about the Cat trade because like what I'm seeing is what I thought I'd see when I told you about it, which was like Julius Randle can really only knows how to play one way. Like he gets the ball in his hands. There's no really no like vision to create. A lot of the assists he gets are like last second passes to
Yeah.
at the end of shot clocks, and like 5 assists a game. That's like pretty good, but like you have to take it into context that like he's not really. I don't know. With the games I've seen, I've obviously haven't watched all. I think you guys played 15 games. I probably watched like 5 or 6, and the 5 or 6 I watched have been a lot of Julius Randle ISO, have been a lot of like it seemingly forcing threes up. And in the beginning of the season, it was good, right? He was on pace to shatter Curry's like 3-point record.
Yeah.
But ever since then, he's had a couple like 1 for 9s, like 1 for 7s, like a lot of those kind of games where like maybe his best offense isn't necessarily the three. And I kind of compared to Shea, just to put it to something I really know well, which is at the beginning of the season when we were winning a lot, Shea was probably taking like 8 or 9 threes a game. He probably made like 3 or 4 a game, like max. It was like 3 of 9, like 4 of 10. It was like bad. So he's toned it down. Now he's at like 2 of 5 or like 3 of 5, or like he's caps it off at like that sort of limit where he gets the three enough to like get the defenders to worry about it, so he can go create his real offense, which is at the rim or like in the mid range. So I think Ant's trying to do something similar, but overly prioritizing the three and like taking like overly contested step back threes. Like there's a lot of like interesting shot selection that I witnessed in a few games that I watched as well. And like the big problem is Mike Conley, man. You need someone who can run an offense in 2024 who isn't old and can move laterally. Like I don't really understand why they're not playing Rob, like just to get like a change of pace. Like someone who can create offense. Maybe Rob isn't necessarily the passer that Mike Conley is. He's certainly faster, and like he's certainly a better scorer.
He is.
So like at the very least, that I'm sure you guys are gonna make another move because I just got a notification actually right now that Dante DiVincenzo is being shopped.
Yeah.
He's being shopped. So I'm sure that you guys are gonna make another move. Maybe for like we floated the Tyus Jones move like 75 times in this pod. Maybe they'll finally make that one happen. But
I don't know if the Suns would give him up. Honestly speaking, that dude he's been playing so good. He's been playing amazing.
I don't think they would either on second top. But maybe there's someone that exists.
Another move that like is also a problem is like when Gobert isn't on the floor, like that interior defense goes to complete shit. Because if you look at Naz Reid, he's not a center. Like
yeah, he's a 3, bro.
Yeah, he's not even like he's 6'10", like he's like 6'9", but he doesn't play like a power forward either. He plays like a small forward.
Yeah.
So like you can't expect him to go out there and play center. And then you have him and like Julius is also not a plus defender either. So like the defensive issue, like I hate, even though like Cat's defense is getting exposed now, his defense within our system was like perfect because he kind of bought into playing alongside Rudy. And I feel like that's the difference between like the team right now is like Cat's ability to like buy into like playing alongside Rudy and kind of and accepting like, okay, there's certain things in my game I have to change, as opposed to Julius. I feel like he's a lot more strong headed and he's kind of at the mindset of like, all right, let me get back to what I did in New York, and then if I get back to what I did in New York, then we'll start winning. But like ultimately speaking, you don't have to do what you did in New York. That's what Ant has to be doing for us. Like what you
I
did in
mean,
New
this
York,
is
like Ant has to do that on like another level. You just gotta do what Cat did for us last year, which was like just make smart plays during the regular season. And that's really
I thought Ant was capping, bro. I thought Ant was like, we're gonna build around Julius. I thought he's capping, bro.
this
But
clearly what's going on right now is he's trying to
yeah,
fit around Julius, which is the complete opposite. It should be
it's
happening.
the same thing that happened for like if you look at previous like I think LeBron was talking about this a while ago when he went to the Heat. This is obviously like horrid comparison, but just like star goes to star, right?
Mhm.
And he would talk about how like he was trying to fit around like Wade, and they're trying to like balance it out. And it started off pretty bad. I don't know if you remember. I think they started off like 1-4, 1-5,
Mhm.
and Dwayne Wade had to go tell him it was like, bro, like this is your team. Like you're the best player in the world. You can be the best player of all time. Like I'll find a way to fit in, but
Yeah.
you have to go take it. Like Julius Randle has to like go tell Ant like this is your team, bro. It's the same thing that Russ did at PG in
Mhm.
2019. We started off horribly, and that's PG's MVP season. And Russ is like, bro, this just take all the shots. This is your team in the clutch. Like you got to go for it. Like I'll fit around, but like I think that's the conversation that Randall has to have because Ant is too like he's young and he's too nice of a soul, bro. Like he's trying to like find a way to make everyone happy. Like this is your team, bro. You got to
I
go
feel
off.
like he's too much into being a leader, where he's just kind of forgetting like sometimes being a leader means being like selfish a little
Selfish.
and like telling like the team like okay, or like being open about it. Like all right, like I need the ball in my hands because like you know that like with 2 minutes left in the game, if the ball's in my hands, like the chance of us winning will go up a lot more if it's in like honestly speaking, like Jaden McDaniel's hands or something like that. And Kat had that conversation with him. Kat literally came on like a press conference and said, like, I told Ant, like, I think you could be a top 5, top 10 player in the league for like years to come. I think you could be in the MVP conversation every single year you're in the league. So I'm gonna just hand you the keys and you're the number one option now. Like Cat doesn't like a lot of people. Ant says, "Oh, I'm 1A, he's 1B." Cat says, "Nah, he's 1 and I'm 2." So like
Yeah,
that's the kind of mindset you need, especially when playing with someone who's so ball dominant as Ant. And like Cat isn't as ball dominant as Julius was, so it was a little bit easier for him to kind of take that step back a little because like Julius, like very much like Ant, like ISO bully ball. I'm gonna bully you in the paint. I'm gonna put my shoulder into you, let the defense collapse, and then work from there. That's not really what Cat did. Cat was more of I can come off screens and shoot three. I can post you up for a couple seconds and take a baby hook. Like he was never like I need the ball for 5-10 seconds in my hands at once. So like I feel like they just need obviously like yeah 15 games into the season. An interesting stat: the 2004 Timberwolves team that went to the Western Conference Finals with KG and Sam Cassell and all of them and Latrell Sprewell. When Sam Cassell joined the team that year, the Wolves were 9-8 their first 17 games of the season and ended the season being the number 2 seed. So
yeah,
obviously things it takes time. Like it's season's not like terribly over. Like I've been overreacting. Obviously, we're still 8-7. We're still only like 2 games back from the 3rd seed, but we have pretty hard games coming up against the Celtics. Then in a week or so, we have like 3 games out of 4 against the Warriors. So if there's a time to figure things out, these next 2 days before the Celtics game it's a really good time, and especially like depending on how we play against a good team like the Celtics, we'll kind of like give a sense of like what the team's identity is going forward.
exactly. I
Yeah,
mean, we all everyone knows the Wolves are gonna be fine. Like it's just gonna take some time to gel.
top 3 seed is going to be hard, but I think like they can bring it back to like a 5th seed. Fifth, I think they could do that.
I think you guys have home court advantage, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't like I said before. I don't think the Warriors are keeping this up. I don't think the Rockets are keeping this
Yeah,
up. Like
and
I
bro, and
think teams like are all gonna float back to the top again. You know.
even if we don't shop around, even if Dante doesn't get traded, like what are the chances Dante keeps shooting 30% from 3, 60 more games of the
Low.
season? Like it's not happening.
He's too good of a
a
shooter.
shooter for that to happen.
Yeah.
So, but moving on to a team that we thought would regress a little bit after an injury, but have been playing really, really well, are the Thunder, who don't have a center, but looks like they found a center on their roster in Jado. So,
Dude. Yeah, it's okay. So after Chet went down, our schedule's been pretty easy, like in like that sort of like mean run. So it doesn't like, and we lost two pretty bad games, like one that we should have won to a Luka-less Mavericks team, and one that we definitely should have won to a Wemby-less San Antonio. But like, if you look at the way Jada's been playing, bro, like he's been our best player this season.
yep.
Like, I don't even think like, with all due respect to Shea, of course, I think I just have higher standards for Shea at this point. I don't think like I expect him leading the league in 25-point games. Like I expect him playing like good defense. But like what we're putting Jada through is actually
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're making that man jump ball. Like we're making that man do like a bunch of stuff that a 6'5" player shouldn't do. He had an ankle roll.
Yeah.
Like because he was in the paint rolling around, like it was bad. But I think he genuinely should be in defensive player of the year talks. He's averaging 2 blocks and 2 steals a game since being a center. He's averaging 27 points a game since being a center. Like there's a lot of things that J-Dub's doing right now that's really good for our team. And like now we got Iyer, and like what a debut! Like 13 and 14 as a debut is like insane. So it's looking good. I miss Chet a lot in terms of like rim protection and stuff, but it'll be nice to finally start a real center come Monday after a 4-game break.
Yep. If you like, I watched the last game, and like the one thing I really noticed is like usually with the center, like it does, like centers get the rebound and they have to pass it out to find a guard to pass it out and kind of let the guard bring up the ball, and you're already like 5 seconds, 6 seconds out of the shot clock with that. With the Thunder, like in my opinion, why it's like working so seamlessly is Jada, before he started playing center, obviously like he could run an offense himself. Like he has the like basketball IQ to be able to like get his offense set, read the defense, and know what he has to do and what sets he has to get into. So as playing a center right now, like he has the ability to just get the rebound, and he doesn't have to find a guard. Like he could just take the ball up the court and then put his team into an offensive set, and then you guys can get right into your offense. So that allows you guys like playing with him a little bit of a quicker pace, obviously. So that's something that I feel like is working because you guys have people on your team too that can run in transition, that can run to the corners pretty fast, be open for corner threes, like Isaiah Joe, like Lou Dort, people like that. And then like the lack of like interior defense, like it's evident, but at the same time to me, because you guys are so strong on the perimeter, offensive players aren't able to blow by to the rim as much. So like you're not like a player like Chet isn't, he's needed obviously, but he's not needed every single possession, or it's not going to affect your team like drastically because like you have players like Caruso like that are like, I saw Caruso play the other day, like he was playing very, very great defense. Like his hands were very active. He was getting his hands on every ball. Cason Wallace, another amazing defender, picking up full court, 94 feet every single time I saw him play. So like obviously like Chet, top 3 like interior defender in the league, but like just the ability for you guys to guard on the perimeter and keep players on the perimeter just helps you guys out so much.
Yeah, you could make an argument that we have like 3 of the 5 best perimeter defenders in basketball.
Yeah. I think you guys like easily you guys do.
Yeah, and like that's like
if we just in my Herb Jones is up there, then you have
he's one.
Yeah. I would probably put like Caruso as like 2 or 3.
Like you could put Caruso, Cason, and Dort anywhere in that list. And if you want to throw Jada in there, Jada down, bro. And you have Shea. If Shea is the worst defender in your lineup,
yeah, that's crazy.
It's
like rough. The only other 2 people like on any other teams that I could think of that have been playing like that have
Jaden
and Derek White. That's about it.
Oh,
and Derek perimeter wise, like he's like good, but he's much better at like a interior guard. Like he's really good at playing like post defense. That's what he's like really known for. But like those 2 other than but top 3, you guys can it's a very good argument for 3 in the top 5.
Yeah. And like it's interesting because I want to see us play a good center. Like I don't think Like I'm trying to remember on this run that we've had. I don't think we've really played a good center besides if you want to put Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively in that sort of like that realm. That's probably the best center we played so far, and that's probably the reason we lost. They out rebounded us by 30.
Yeah.
But like it's not gonna matter anymore because iHeart's gonna start starting on Monday. But
Mhm.
it was a nice like sort of like 6-7 game stretch from J-Dub where like he showed that he can kind of like be the most malleable player in our team, kind of play
Yeah.
wherever he wants to. And like now it's good experience because like you have 2 blocks a game as a 6'5" center.
That's
Like
it's very good for you guys, like in the future, especially in the
yeah,
future too. Because now you guys know,
yeah.
like, God forbid, if something like this happens again for like a short period of time, you know you can sustain like the lack of center play for maybe a. Obviously, you don't want it to be for months on months and end, but like if it like it comes to the point where you need it to happen for like another week or two, you guys know now, like you guys are capable of doing it.
Yeah. And who we oh next is I really want to talk about the Rockets actually, because
Yeah.
that's probably like that's such a fun story. Like I think Thunder
Well,
fans are naturally
I
supposed
think we'll talk
to
about the Rockets, and then that should probably be like one of the last things we talk about, other than like
yeah,
talking about LaMelo or something like that.
yeah. If we have time, we can. But
Yeah.
I think the Rockets are like they deserve to be talked about, you know?
Rockets are
Like the fact that one, like Jalen Green is playing so bad, like that guy is ass. And
horrific.
they're 11 and they're like are they 11-5?
Yeah, 11-5.
Who would you even say their best player is? Their like their second best player? Because Şengün's been their best player so far.
Their second best
Are
player,
Eason?
Torrey Eason or Amen Thompson.
That's so crazy. I'm happy for Amen Thompson, man. He's
He's
been playing really well.
been playing very well.
But Tari Eason just injected himself with some crazy convos, man. Like
Mhm.
every game that I watch him play, he looks like the defensive player of the year. I'm not gonna lie. Like I love Wemby. Like I love like Chet obviously took himself out of the running. But like players like Bam and Gobert, like players you'd expect to be at the top, I'd have Tari over both of them.
Gobert
Like
has had a shit defensive season so far. I haven't heard anything of. I haven't really heard anything of Bam being astronomically good on the defensive end
yeah,
so far. So yeah, I could
mm,
definitely see that.
like who'd you have at one? Wemby?
Wemby probably like, and then like, what are you putting like Dyson Daniels at 2?
Oh,
Dude has been
bro,
going crazy.
he's been insane
Bro.
too.
Doing
Maybe
crazy.
the last segment should just be us bringing up players who've been doing well.
Yeah.
Because my God, I feel bad, bro. We should talk about Dyson Daniels too.
Dude,
My God.
especially as someone that loves defense, the amount of deflections that man gets. But he'll have a half of an episode dedicated to him. Don't worry, coming soon.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Yeah, but yeah, you can talk about the Rockets a little more, but I'm just really impressed with the way like one like Ime Udoka has really built that team. Like there's like they haven't even really played Reed that much. It's kind
I
of
was
been centered
surprised.
around like Şengün, Tari, Van Vliet, and like Jalen Green when he wants to play basketball.
Yeah.
But the rest of it has been like just his coaching, which is what I've really been impressed of.
Dude, and this team is very, very deep. Like you have, like you said, Sengun, Green, Shepard, Van Vliet, Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith comes off
Yeah, I
their
didn't
bench.
mention Jabari Smith.
Jabari Smith coming off their bench. They have well, I'm not really sure why they sent Cam Whitmore to the G League, because I was pretty impressed with how Cam Whitmore played last season. But like he's in the G League, and also like they're doing this without like a lot of play from Reed Shepard. And me personally, I thought out of like the top like 7 picks, I thought Reed Shepard would be like one of the players that can come onto the Rockets team and like impact winning right away, because he's such a good shooter. Like that's like the one thing that he had for him, and he plays so like fundamentally. Like when you watch him play, he doesn't do anything crazy. He just does what he needs to do. So the fact that they're doing that without him is pretty insane. But and like their backup center play has also been very like, it's pretty solid. Like you have Steven Adams, Jeff Green, still 38 years old, coming in doing his thing, going banging body to body with people in the paint, still dunking on people. I see a yearly Jeff Green poster every single year on my Instagram feed.
Yeah, that guy is crazy. I don't know how he's still in the league. Like he's so
Yeah, but
impressive.
it's just like you said, I feel like they've bought into Aduku's like coaching and what he wants to build there. And I personally think that like 11-5, I don't think they'll keep up like that good of a pace, but like I think they can be a top six seed, maybe a 6 seed if they keep up even like 75% of what they're doing right now. And if some kind of like injury does happen in their like front court, like they have enough depth for them to kind of replace it because Torrey Eason doesn't even start. He comes off the bench too. So
Yeah.
if he ends up starting, like they'll be pretty good.
He should start, bro. Who they got starting over him?
I think their starting lineup is Van Vliet, Jalen Green, Sengun, Dylan Brooks,
Yeah.
and
They got Dylan Brooks.
yeah. And then do they start? I think they start Amen Thompson.
Okay, let me look at who they started last game. Because, like, that guy should be starting, bro. Like, I could just be biased because I've only watched like a few of these games, but he's popped off the screen.
Yeah, he only plays
Yeah.
20 minutes a game.
Yeah, they're starting Jabari. So it's Fred, Jalen, Shengun, Jabari, Dylan Brooks, and then Jock Landale, Amen, and Tari come off the bench.
Okay.
Dude, that look at these stats, bro. He like in 23 minutes, he had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 steals.
He's all over the floor when he's playing.
Dude, he's chaotic. But it's like good chaos though.
Yeah. But like we both agree that like I don't think they'll keep up that top 3 standings. There's teams that are playing horrific, still not living up to both the Western Conference Finals teams are actually like 8 or like 9 and 10 right now in the standings, and then you have the Nuggets not playing amazing. I realistically think the Nuggets aren't gonna jump up more than like the 4th or 5th seed because like actually I take that back. They might just because
don't say anything with that man, bro. Jokic is too good, bro.
Just because of how insane that man has been playing, bro. Like 4th MVP incoming this year.
Easily. Wait. Let's take like 2 minutes, bro, because this man is leading the league in rebounds and assists, total and average, and he's 4th in the league in total points and 4th in the league in points per game average. Like he doesn't make any sense. I think we should have a different award for him and then have like one where Shea can win it because like this is a little absurd.
There's literally I don't think there's no one in the league that can. No one's slowing him down, bro. Like I have there's literally no way. There's nothing you can do against him. It's
like Chet played really well against him game 1, and I think he had like 20 and 20.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's like I don't even know, bro.
You need the perfect mix of strength and length to guard Jokic. But the thing is, nobody in the league has that mix. Like Chet has the length, but he doesn't have the strength. Wemby has the length, doesn't have the strength. Gobert has the length, but he's a little bit bigger, but he's not big enough. And also Jokic's foot speed is also a lot like his ability to change pace as a center is like something very underrated too, that because a lot of centers can't keep up with that too. Even though he's really slow, like he could change his pace really, really well. So I guess it's just built-in Europeans, bro. Just triple-double machines. I guess that's what they do.
Dude, he's about to shatter like Westbrook's records, bro. It's so sad.
It's insane. That's a perfect way to end out the episode. Me finally giving Jokic his props, bro. Wow.
Okay.
Like just solely based on
different.
how he's playing is I could see them just taking a top 3 seed, bro.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, like, just to end the pod off, like we got, let's say Thunder, Wolves, Nuggets, Mavs is like a Warriors, and we'll say Memphis. Like, who you think the Rockets can realistically jump?
Memphis.
And like the Lakers, I guess. We can put the Lakers in there.
I think Memphis.
Yeah, that's probably the one, right? Especially with all the injuries.
Especially with all because like, yeah, you don't want to think about injuries, but if there's one, Memphis is riddled with injuries all the time. Like John hasn't seen the court in like a week and a half. And honestly, we touched on the Lakers last episode, but we're gonna end real soon. But I don't want to talk too much about them. The Lakers honestly might be a hard team to beat as well, especially with JJ Redick and being as crazy of a coach as he is. And
he's so good.
Being so dedicated to the game, like things like just like what he said yesterday. Like he's like, I'm gonna go in my basement tomorrow, turn all the lights off, and watch this game from start to finish. And they only lost that game by 1. So
yeah, and they lost the game because AD can't make a late game free throw.
Exactly. Like they didn't lose the game because they did anything like blunder. But when a coach takes a loss like that to heart and is actively working on making his team better, then you know that team can go places, especially with him like playing and feeding AD. Like their whole offense revolves around him. So yeah. I think that is the end of the episode. That's all we have to talk about today. We did have a little bit more, but we kind of kept talking about certain things for a little bit longer. So we'll touch on some more things next episode. But yeah, keep sticking with us. We're gonna be a lot more consistent, especially coming into the next couple of weeks. Maybe like 1 week when Aashrith has finals and I have finals, we won't post, but getting into the new year, we'll keep giving you guys videos, because we might do an in-person video as well, because we're gonna both be home together at the same time. So I might switch it up and do something like that. So just keep sticking with us and stay tuned for our Instagram updates. And yeah, peace.